Hello and welcome to the tank review of the Sherman Firefly. Now, at the point of where I record this, because I have, good gameplay, both in arcade and realistic, which I want to show you, I had no proper feedback, from if you like it, that I let gameplay run in the background, but for the few people that I asked, because I haven't released it or already the video on the T5451 where I used it for the first time. I have to say that overall I will use it because it saves me time. It will not be a very boring tank review, but you have all the information that you need in a very short amount of time, but without getting overloaded or flooded with information in a unnecessary way. So the Sherman Firefly, for all intents and purposes, it's just a Firefly with a bit of good looking add-on armor and a fantastic 17-pounder. However, the tank is not very survivable at 5.0. Let's begin at first with the armor, and 50 millimeters frontal armor, not that good. Despite having here additional tracks at 5.0, people will just shred you. Also here this rounding part can reach flat areas, so if you have 60 millimeters of penetration, that's enough to go through the lower part, and also here and here. That means especially German AAA will shred you, at least from short distances, such as the Wirbelwind or the Ostwind. The turret, however, is a bit stronger, 76 millimeters here in the turret front, and it also features nice roundings at the edge. Then the gun mantle itself is just 50 millimeters. That sounds pathetically weak, but we have something behind that, and we have a huge areas of overlay with 88.9 millimeters. So we're looking at round about 140 millimeters. So you have a chance to survive a shot from medium to long range from German 75 millimeter guns or in Russian 85 millimeter guns. And that will be very nice. The sight, however, pathetically weak. AAA stream. 38.1 millimeters, despite having all the tracks and structural steel of chassis and also the add-on armor, it will not save you. The turret is a bit tougher with 50.8 millimeters, and those tracks then finally reach a thickness in combination that might save you. I give you no guarantee for it. The rear also 38, and of the turret 50 millimeters. The engine deck is just 12.1 millimeters thick, and the turret is just 25.4 millimeters thick, the turret roof. That means that you're very vulnerable to rockets or any kind of high explosive charge that hits you. So then let's have a look at the X-ray, and we can see that the transmission is in the front, the engine together with the huge fuel tanks sitting in the back. And we have 4 crew members, and the order is important. We have the driver and the loader on the right hand side, with the gunner and the commander on the left hand side. And there we have a lot of ammunition, 77 shells in total, but it's laying down very low in the tank, so it's actually not that often that you die by ammunition fire. And this ammunition rack here is actually the first one that gets emptied, not this here or those few shells here. So yeah, you can take out like 40 shells and it will empty this rack in total, but ammunition is not really the problem. You will mostly die by a crew death. That brings me to the actual firepower, and we can see that we have here a 76.2 millimeter quick firing 17-pounder cannon with a total ammunition loadout of 77 shells, which I just told you, and a fantastic turret rotation speed of 22.3 degrees per second. But the gun depression is a bit disappointing, -5 degrees. That's Russian level of gun depression. The reload rate, however, on my current crew is 6.3 seconds, and this is really quick for the amount of penetration that you have. Let's have a look at the ammunition, and we have 4 different ammunition types: the stock shell, 160mm solid shot, the HE shell, not worth talking about, the first upgraded shell, 165mm, again a solid shot, performing a little bit better against sloped armor, and then we have the shot Mark 8, which is an APCBC. Sadly no German APCBC, because there is no high explosive filling in it. It just describes the capping, and it is the shell that not just has the best penetration values, but also performs best against sloped armor. I highly recommend just to use this one. However, the damage output is, typically for a solid shot, and if you have gone this far in the British tech tree, you might be used to the low damage output, so you have to go for either the engines or the ammunition or the crew. So where you place your shots is highly important, and careful aiming is advised. That brings me to the following order of the parts or the upgrades. Parts, and then for the ammunition, your horizontal turret drive is not that important, as it is also stock. Not too bad. Fire prevention system, of course. Adjustment of fire, very important. Then the shot Mark 8. Elevation mechanism is important, the crew replenishment, and depending on your playstyle or your personal experiences, also the add-on armor. The mobility is not too bad, but I recommend you to get it. Artillery support is optional. So let's talk about the mobility, and this is the part where I was a bit, pleasantly surprised. Here, fully upgraded in realistic, we have a horsepower to ton ratio of 13.77 horsepower per ton, and in arcade we have 25.2 horsepower per ton, and you actually are always cruising around about 30 to 35 kilometers an hour, and that's quite fast. And this sounds a little bit similar to the T-54-51 video which I released earlier, and you might expect so that this tank is really slow and realistic, but it isn't. So the performance difference between arcade and realistic is not given compared to the T-54, which was something that surprised me a lot. So you reach your destinations where you want it in time, and also in the hostile environment at top tier battle ratings, the T-54 struggles more in realistic than it does in arcade. But I think the Firefly prefers a little bit more realistic, as you don't get shot as often, or you're not that visible. So careful gameplay pays off, as you might see in the background footage. So I think that's it for this tank review. Let's focus on the gameplay. So here we are in the end phase of the battle for Frozen Pass, and I tried to finish this KV-85, but a T-34-85 was faster. I tried to get shots in the other KV-85, and I just take out his commander. And as you could see so far, I did pretty well when having the sights of the enemy, and it was survival. Let's have a quick look at the post-battle results screens. And for 8 kills and 6 assists and 9 critical hits, I got nearly 50,000 silver lions and 3,830 research points. And that's quite a bit, to be honest. So also I was first in team with 2,336 research or score points rather. So let's hop into some realistic gameplay, shall we? So, and here we are with the Germans and the Americans versus the Russians on Karelia, and I think this is a good map that shows everything this tank has. Its mobility, the gun performance, also the drawbacks of the tanks become apparent. Actually in a very early situation, and I think it's very good that we face the Russians, as they are your main opponents, not just here in realistic, but also in arcade. You know, the majority of players use Russian tanks in arcade, and also in realistic, you know, there are always Russians in the match. Either you fight with them or against them. And there we see our first customer, T-3485, and I make his gun breach red, not too much, and I reverse, I side scrape here. Probably not the best decision, but I get away with it. This T-34 bounces in my first shell. I go forwards into cover for reloading, and then do this reverse side scraping again. He was showing downward with his tank, so he was neglecting the angle of his upper plate, so I happily took the shot and one-shotted him. That's why I actually prefer the 17-pounder above the pathetically bad German long 75, which you can see on the Panther. Really, on the Panther, I actually would prefer a solid shot, to be honest. It's the high explosive charge is that bad. And I see that this Tiger is reversing. That just means that we can expect some enemy tanks, because Tigers don't reverse for no reason. Also, this situation is commonly known for fast enemy tanks to intercept you, and we can see that there is a battle going on for the ACAP. Oh, two enemy T-34s. So that there is a battle for the ACAP, and a T-3485 just took down the M18, which tried to cap. And again, I tried to reverse here. I don't have a good gun depression of 5 degrees. That's Russian level of gun depression. So I really try to, you know, make the best out of it, spreading some artillery strikes around. Okay, I just had one. And then I, you know, choke for or rock around for positioning. And what comes now is basically a mind game. A game for who does have more patience. They want kills. They are in those infamously awesome Russian tanks. It's a T-3485 and a T-3457. So tanks with a high rate of fire and destructive ammunition. They have a lot of high explosive filling, so I don't want to get hit by them in the first place. So there is no point in charging them. When they just can get off one shot, they probably will kill me. Especially when I come over, you know, the ridge line, so to speak. They can practically shoot me anywhere. And I don't want this to happen. I want to have my gun in the game. And the first one gets impatient and I cripple him heavily. Black gun breach, and the other one just ignores me, and I pump one into him again. I can't believe my luck. So yeah, and now I charge them. They can't shoot at me, so I need to kill them right now before they can repair. And of course I bounce, despite shooting from above. Yeah, and this one is my first customer of those two, and then I take my time with the T-3485. And he knew it was coming. So there you can see how good this gun can be. The combination of the high penetration, the good spalling effect, and yeah, the high rate of fire. And just watch how easy I climbed this hill for a medium tank. 13.77 horsepower to ton ratio. I think, you know, this tank performs better than this. And now I'm practically in a very good position where I can have side shots on tanks that don't pay attention and just cross this. I just can intercept the reinforcements for the A cap, which is now capped by our team, so our team has well done. Now at this moment it gets decapped, so yeah. What should I do? What should I do? If now I go for the cap circle, I give up this position, and some funny, fast Russian tank can shoot me in the rear, which is not the nicest thing that can happen to you. And then I go up this slope. I actually try to reverse up on this hill to have shots downwards where they never will expect me. And then I see movement, and I, you know, assume where he is. I see movement again. That's it. And this is the nice thing, this ammunition explosion, you know, impossible to achieve with the Panther. Um, you know, I love my guns when I load them. And the second shell, and again here I take out the last crew member. He had no crew replenishment module, obviously, as the driver was still alive. And then also here a very crippling shot into the second AAA, taking him out. That's my 6th kill, by the way. Just saying, you know. And I'm not done yet. And now I want to reverse, and you can see I have a very bad reverse gear, so yeah. Then this is a British AAA, so that's a second pair of eyes. And then I'm just waiting. You know, why to hunt the enemy when the enemy comes to you? Where you have an ambush position, you're standing still, and I see movement, T-34. Nice. So yeah, he also received a hit previously, so taking out the driver was all that I had to do. And that's my 7th kill, if I'm not mistaken. So just machine gunning him so that he burns and is visible to the rest of my team, so not that they are panicking and pumping shots into him, which are unnecessary. And then I try to go up this hill, and now there is an funny situation coming. I see this guy too late, and he manages to hit me. And then he tries to get back, and now I couldn't do anything. You know, I had to extinguish the fire, but he doesn't shoot me again for some bizarre reason, and I take him out in one shot. And oh man, and then KV2 happened. Yeah, so I would have died anyways. I didn't expect somebody coming from behind, and yeah, I actually take a backup vehicle. But at this point, I'd say it's enough, because I just killed one more tank. I wanted to get into the same position as previous, and I see a T-34. He tries to retreat, and then he comes forward again foolishly, and a good hit into his turret. He tried to reverse, but not today, sunshine. That's my 9th and final kill. And so let's cut out the rather unimportant part, and let's jump to the ending. Best squad, Heavy Metal Fury, and obviously Survivor as well. So the Wheel of Poverty strikes again, so I had to cut out the sound here. I hope you don't mind. And yeah, for 9 kills, 7 critical hits, and this time no assist, I got 42,000 silver lines and 3,696 research points, and I was second with 1,879 score points. So that's the Sherman Firefly for you, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know how you liked the format, how you liked the gameplay, if you did get a good impression, if you want to play this tank, or if you say, that's not my style. Anyways, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Like the video if you did, subscribe if you want to see more, and see you next time on the battlefield.